What is going on? Jordan Sherwood Wood on 1063 FatCheckSports.com for a look at UFC Fight Island 4. Takes place Saturday night. Critical women's bantamweight bout. Holly Holm, Irene Aldana in the main event. Real quick, looking back to last week, UFC 253. 2-4 night for our fight picks. We were solid on the Brandon Royval selection as well as Israel Adesanya, but missed on a couple of the totals. Really thought Jan Blachowicz and Dominic Reyes were going to go to the judges' scorecards. Obviously, that wasn't the case. Jan Blachowicz looked amazing. Also thought Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa at least go over that 2.5 round total. That didn't happen. Israel Adesanya proving once again he's one of the best middleweights and mixed martial arts fighters of all time. But we move on to Saturday night. Interesting matchup between Aldana and Holly Holm. I've been a big fan of Irene Aldana since she made her UFC debut. Very crisp striker, very good counter striker, understands distance, understands timing, and we saw that come to fruition. One of her last bouts in that beautiful knockout over Caitlin Vieira. We did have Aldana in that fight when she was the underdog and looked very impressive with the win. We also had her in the Raquel Pennington fight, and that was a controversial split decision. I believe split decision loss. Didn't think Pennington won that fight, but obviously we were on the side of Aldana, so that's how we're gonna look at that fight. Whatever. Aldana's either on a 6 fight win streak or she's won her last two, and she's 6 out of her last seven. So solid, surging, and certainly a contender and someone probably new for Amanda Nunes to consider as a challenger in the women's bantamweight division. But Holly Holm is a tough out. She always is. She's got obviously outstanding kickboxing, good boxing skills, understands distance, great cardio, is able to work the clinch when she needs to. She did that in her last fight against Raquel Pennington. And obviously the knockout heard around the world when she, put her stamp on the women's division with the victory over Ronda Rousey. She wins the fight she's supposed to win. She loses the fight she's supposed to lose. Here, she is, it's virtually a pick 'em, slight favor, slight underdog. Last I looked, she is the slight favorite. I think she wins this fight. And as much as I love Irene Aldana, I think that Aldana would have to show a skill set that she's never shown before and the ability to grapple, the ability to wrestle, and kind of dictate where the fight would go. And predominantly Holly Holm doesn't get taken down like at all. Like she keeps the fight standing. But I think she's going to have the slight advantage on the feet, the slight quickness advantage over Aldana. And unless Irene Aldana can take this fight to the ground, I don't foresee her being able to win a point kickboxing match. Also, you have to consider that Irene Aldana had to pull out of a fight previously with Holly Holm because she tested positive for COVID. She alluded to the fact that she had it pretty seriously. She was unable to breathe, temperature was up. Obviously, training is a little bit convoluted when you're dealing with that. There was enough time to, in essence, have a full training camp for this fight, but it's not going to be one of our selections. But I'm going out there and I'm saying Holly Holm is going to win the fight. Not another one of our selections at the co-main event, but I think Carlos Felipe is worth a look. I looked at him in his UFC debut, a loss to Spivak. He was winning the fight or could have won the fight, but Spivak had a late takedown in the third round, gave him pretty much the decision, and Felipe couldn't get up. Jorgen De Castro, like I've been on him twice. We were on him in his UFC debut against Justin Tafa. He was an underdog. He won that fight, beautiful, walk off knockout. Also thought he was going to defeat Greg Hardy, but Greg Hardy made the adjustments and won that fight. I think he's got a round. He's got a round and a right hand to be able to win this fight. I think Carlos Felipe, even though it's a little bit inflated, his record previous to the UFC, I'll take him. Near 3-1, 2-1 dog. Um, I think he wins the fight, but it's kind of a light, fight card. Not a lot of interesting stories, in my opinion. I definitely am interested in seeing how Juliana Pena looks after a long layoff against, GDR, who's always obviously a tough out, former champion. So that's worth a look. Charles Air Jourdain, makes his return after, we had him in the Andre Touchy Feely fight, but he obviously wasn't victorious in that. We will have 4 plays. I'll have 4 plays out there for UFC Fight Island 4, 2 round totals, 2 outright winners. FatJackSports.com. We're still on quite a run, despite the disappointment of the 2-4 record of last week. A lot of fight cards to get to look towards. We got every single week. And now my concentration is fully here because the White Sox are out of the playoffs. Thank you, Rick Renteria. But anyways, four selections for sure. FatJackSports.com. Wood on 1063. If you want to follow me on Twitter, get some content, and feel free to DM me if you've got some thoughts on some other fights that you want me to take a look at, because I certainly will do that. And as always, watch the fights.